What's up, you nerds? Welcome back to Yellow Spandex. This episode, we basically talk about one movie in particular. That's Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. We do a little bit of garnishing things here and there, you know, a little sprinkle there, a little cherry on top. So hope you enjoy, and peace.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome back to, what day is it now?
I'm not calling this quarantine edition podcast anymore. This is just the podcast now.
I feel like everybody's calling their thing quarantine, though. Like, I don't know if you've seen other people's like stuff on YouTube or podcasts or whatever it is. It's like quarantine, this or that. Like, okay, episode 1.
Just like, how long do we go for this? Like, I think everybody's clinging on to hope that, like, okay, this is going to be done soon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just uncertainty, but we're not here to talk about that. So a lot of things actually happened real quick before we get to the main subject. A lot of things happened this week. There was like the rumors that like Mulan and Black Widow were going to digital, and then now they got the theater dates.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Okay.
Like, I think they're projecting for like July for Mulan, and like with the Eternals, they did with the MCU what we thought they were going to do. They were just pushing everything back.
Yeah.
And then Captain Marvel got a release date. Captain Marvel 2, I mean. Mm-hmm. And then there was the rumors that like Disney Plus might have either start like a live action X-Men series, well, like solo action series, or have a new animated series coming up.
Right.
Which would be in line for a lot of the things that we know out here. That's all I'm going to say without
saying
too much. But we don't know anything definitely. But there's just been some things with friends working on stuff. They're like, can't talk about that. And if there's an X-Men animated series, a lot of things would make sense out here.
Yeah.
But so yeah, all that stuff. So I mean, I guess that's kind of optimistic. The only kind of really bad news that came out of all that is, was it S&P had just downgraded AMC's rating to like it was some terminology of something like virtually unsalvageable or something like that. And
my gosh.
So like there's rumors of like, or not rumors, like speculations of like, does this mean when it's done, AMC files for bankruptcy and restructures? Does it get bought by another company? You know,
Man, I hope so, or at least survives.
So, like, our friend Ruth Ann had told us, I haven't actually seen an article about this. She mentioned, like, Disney's interested in buying AMC. And I'm like, I'd like that as a consumer, but I kind of hate that as, like, a human.
Yeah, I don't think that's a good idea at all.
Well, and then Disney's supposed to be in trouble now too.
Yeah, because of the theme parks and the movies. I don't know how this is all working. Like, everybody's poor right now except for toilet paper companies. So, like...
and alcohol companies.
Oh.
So, I don't know. But yeah, so all that stuff... I don't know. It's not worth talking about like a whole episode about.
And ganja companies.
Yeah.
Speaking of, Jay and Silent Bob Reboot.
Yeah. So this week we
not the remake, the reboot.
We all decided on our own times to watch Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, which I haven't seen Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back in a long time.
It's been a minute.
So I was remembering stuff through this movie, and I guess for anybody that doesn't know the premise, the original Jay and Silent Bob was just kind of like what would you call it? Like kind of like a wrap up film for like the View Askew-verse.
Yes.
It was supposed to be.
Oh yeah.
And then like the whole idea of Jay and Silent Bob Reboot is they're making fun of reboots by doing a reboot. So they hit every literal beat of the first movie with different characters and the same situation, different characters and settings. And I don't know. That's like kind of the elevator pitch with that before we get into like, you know, talking about all the details of it.
Yeah, I actually haven't seen Clerks 2. And I guess that happened in 2006.
I don't think I saw Clerks 2 either.
So I guess that's a good place to start. So every character that's in Jay and Silent Bob Reboot is from the Kevin Smith universe or from the real world, which is really interesting. It's like Kevin Smith is in this.
Yeah.
Right. So Rosaria Dawson, I guess this is a spoiler thing, 'cause there's no way we're going to talk about this without spoiling it.
Yeah.
Rosaria Dawson.
I don't care, though.
Also, for everybody else, it's free on Amazon Video if you have Prime, and it's cheap if not.
Yeah, I bought it on iTunes for $7. Like I was like, yes, just do that. Like I pay that for like Hulu or I don't know. I'm going to watch this
Right.
a lot. It has the extras and everything. So Rosaria Dawson makes a cameo in this movie.
Amazing.
As I forget her with Justice, Shannon Elizabeth's character's wife, and I was like, oh, that's funny. I guess she never really met Jay and Silent Bob in Clerks 2, but then I looked it up. Rosaria Dawson plays a completely new character in this movie from Clerks 2, and it confuses me because I think she's the only one.
Oh, weird.
I think everybody else plays who they played. Either they played who they were in the movies, or they play themselves in this world.
Right.
And with the exception of like Ralph Garman and stuff, he played Tom. What was his name? Tom. The guy that
I have no idea what the fake name was or whatever.
Underhill.
Yeah.
There you go.
Because that is also it's an Easter egg. It's a reference to Ted Underhill.
Ted Underhill. That's what it is.
Ted Underhill is the name. It's a reference to Fletch.
Okay.
I was like, I knew there was something.
And that was an old movie, right?
Yeah, Chevy Chase.
70s, yeah, or maybe 80s, early 80s. Fletch.
So 85, yeah.
85. Okay. Dang.
But yeah, like besides maybe a couple of those cameos, like all like the Clerks cast made cameos as their actors, and then Dante made a cameo as Dante.
Yeah.
It's just a wild kind of universe there. But then Rosario Dawson is this wife, is a completely new character, but then in Clerks 2 was a different character. So it's just interesting.
That is weird.
Yes. It's so weird.
I mean, I'm glad she was in it. I love her.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like I said, I've never seen Clerks 2, so why wouldn't she just be the same character?
I haven't seen it in a while, so maybe there was something in the story where she couldn't be or something, but
Maybe.
I thought that tie-in was going to be like, oh, look, she came back and married the girl from Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back.
I was looking for the cast right now, but the girl from Chasing Amy, seeing her again.
Joey, I can't remember her last name. She has the three names. Her first name's Joey. Chasing Amy was my favorite of the Kevin Smith movies.
Yeah.
And so it was cool seeing that crew back together. Did you see that thing about how that scene was added, like kind of like the last minute production?
For what?
The Ben Affleck and the whole Chasing Amy ending thing.
I kind of figured as much because he had come out and said, "Hey, we got Ben Affleck," like, and I was like, "Didn't you already almost wrap?" Or like, kind of like, because he's very much like talking about this movie for forever. I mean, he's great. He's a crazy smart businessman. He's quite wicked smart and
Wicked hardcore.
Exactly. And he does a great job, like, promoting all this stuff and just forever, and people love him. So I don't know. It was just weird. I know he had mentioned it towards the end, like, yeah, and he even had a podcast. I think about him getting back, like with Ben Affleck. So yeah,
Joey Lauren Adams.
Yeah. This is Chasing Amy. Her name wasn't Amy, but like, but it was wild, like how everybody kind of. It was like if you put all of like the people in Kevin Smith's life in like a Yahtzee box and shook it up, and then like let it settle back down, because it was like Kevin Smith's daughter played Jason Mewes' daughter in the movie, and then Jason Mewes' daughter plays Ben Affleck's daughter. In the movie. I mean, it was super cute. You can definitely tell that both of them become fathers,
and we get to see Kevin Smith bang his wife.
Oh yeah, that was so funny.
Yeah,
it was funny because I told Vince as soon as Jen walked on screen, I'm like, they're gonna go fuck somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know why they haven't done that in movies before, but it's just like that setup was too perfect.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, he showed her like the eggplant emoji, and then one girl got freaked out, but then his actual wife walks in, and is like, oh, okay.
It's like, oh, I know what he means. I'll take care of this, sir. If you can meet me over here.
I was trying to figure out if there was a joke in there of like how he would type so much stuff and just be one emoji each time.
yeah.
Like, was he typing in the sentence and then it would just translate it into an emoji?
I think it was just a joke, like the bad sync of like English over Japanese movies, or like, I don't know, just like a cliche. Like you see the person on a computer type like 1,000 letters, and then it shows you the screen, and it's like, hey, what's up?
Yeah,
He's got like a really long passcode.
Or a really long passcode. Yeah.
And it almost physically hurt me to hear how hard he was tapping each time too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
I like that Blunt Man had a blunt phone,
yeah.
and it was Val Kilmer, which was even funnier.
That was hilarious. Val Kilmer not even saying a word.
Yeah, I mean, dude, that dude is like, he's not well. It was so great to like see him though.
Yeah,
like,
it was
be able to stand
crazy.
there.
I used to love his movies.
And
back in the
you see
day.
it in the after credits. I guess they green screened him in and stuff. So like they must have been like, okay, we can get him here, and he has an hour of energy.
Yeah.
Stan.
What is up with him though? Because he used to be like super in shape. Like, what's going on?
I don't know exactly. I just remember seeing that he rarely makes public appearances, and there was some charity he showed up at, and everybody's like, "Oh, is he okay?" Because his like face has like physically like changed a lot.
Bloated.
I mean, the man's 60. I don't know if that makes a difference, but
I don't know. There's some. Yeah, I'm looking at some of those pictures, and it's like, whoa.
And
he's supposed to be in the new Top Gun
Really? They're gonna do that
because of the old Top Gun, Maverick and everybody. Val Kilmer.
I loved him in Tombstone.
Tombstone?
He was
I
Doc
remember
Holliday.
Tombstone.
Oh.
Yeah, dude.
It's like my
that
dad's favorite
brings us
movie.
back.
He'll watch that every freaking day forever.
Same here. It's one of my dad's favorite movies. We used to watch it. It just used to be on television every time I'd come home because he'd just be sitting there watching it after work.
you know, it's funny. Speaking of like people getting older, I don't know how to say this without sounding like a dick, but like, it's something Vince and I noticed, especially because this was shot like in HD, you know, compared to like the previous movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the characters, you could see the age on their faces, you know?
Oh yeah.
And it was just kind of like wild, especially Justice, you know?
Yeah.
It's like it was like, but she still looks good. I don't. She doesn't look bad at all.
Shannon Elizabeth.
It's just that like she like, it looked like they were trying to play everybody a little bit younger than they actually are in real life.
Mm-hmm.
It was just strange.
But I mean, it was at the same time, it's still good to see everybody because it's just kind of like, you know, it's not the last film, but it felt like, you know,
It was a blast from the past. Even seeing Jason Biggs and Elizabeth in the same movie was kind of, or Shannon Elizabeth. and Jason
from
Biggs.
American Pie.
Like there's all these different connections, and having Jason Lee in there as well. That was funny, man.
And every person, like I'd like Ben Affleck or these other major characters, they make like these dad joke Easter eggs to their
my
other
gosh.
movies.
And it is insane that they're all in this like universe, whatever it's called.
I don't know. Has it ever been in the View Askewverse that Kevin Smith actually exists in it? Or is this the first time we saw that?
I don't know too much.
I don't remember, but I feel like there might have been like a one-off, like, oh, Kevin Smith who wrote that crap movie or something. Like, I really feel like he has done that in the past.
But have we seen him like this?
Not seen. I don't think you've ever seen.
Okay,
him.
but
Like,
they
he's
have
not playing
referenced it.
himself.
Okay.
Yeah, I
They have
think. I don't
referenced
know.
And that whole thing at Chronic Con, but Comic Con. So
Yeah.
this is wild because I think weren't we around when they were doing that? Like we didn't go to it obviously, but like I saw the email go out to like show up to LA Convention Center during LA Comic Con and do that scene. And it was so the thing that the whole movie, everything was like meta on two levels.
Yeah.
Like they're going to this convention because they want to be in a scene in a movie directed by Kevin Smith, but the scene in the movie was actually filmed at a Comic Con by Kevin Smith. Like, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very convoluted.
I feel like if you didn't know all of this stuff, you might not have been interested. Like, it might have bored you.
Yeah, I feel like that could summarize the whole movie.
Yeah.
My favorite part. Well, for one, it was like my favorite, and then on the flip side, it was also kind of stood out as the worst, in a good way. But here, let me explain. So, Kevin Smith's daughter plays, Jason Mewes' daughter in the movie, and she's like by far one of the best actors in this whole thing. But then that's one way I looked at it, and then the other way I looked at it was she overacted like the entire movie, and that's why she stood out. But because she's really good at like crying on cue, I noticed that, and she really could like convey great emotion when the scene needed it, and I'm just so happy for Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes to like bring Jay and Silent Bob back to the modern day and do it flawlessly, because she's like, crying her eyes out, and Jason Mewes is still just Jay, and Silent Bob is just Bob. It's so crazy.
Yeah, Harley, she did a good job. Like I was like, she's not just the director's daughter. Like I thought she was really good. Even that cheesy scene. The one time, like when she was kind of like pouring her heart out to Jay on the side of the road, I was like, oh, this is so cheesy. And then she ends it with, oh, that sounds like a bad monologue or something like that. And I was like, oh, okay. I don't know if that makes it better, but they acknowledged it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the other times, like I was like, wow, I'm really feeling it. To the point where Vince even says, like, oh, I think she knows.
She was doing it, man. She was putting it out there, and it was making sense to me. It was hitting me. I was reading her like I thought the movie was being written, and was I proven wrong? Yeah, because that's not what it was. And she had to like ask the questions. But I guess in hindsight, like you could argue the point there, whether she knew that Jason Mewes was her father, because there's some point in the movie where he's like just like letting things fly out, and he's getting real loose about it, and finally he tells her. But just the whole those three, like Jay and Silent Bob and Harley, I can't remember her name in the movie.
Millie, Millennium Falcon.
Oh yeah, Millennium Falcon. Oh man, they're just the gel of what was going on there felt really good. So you could tell like Jason's probably like hangs out with them and has been a part of their family ever since she was a little girl and everything. It just felt really comfortable.
Yeah, it definitely felt like a whole like kind of family, not reunion. You could tell that you were with a group that like those are each other's people.
Yeah, like they know each other well.
I love that they made fun of comic book Ben being canceled, and they had them all there.
Yeah.
Was it the Last Supper? Is that what I caught when they ran by? I was like, was that the Last Supper? Because they just flicked by real quick, and then they ran into the Clerks reunion, and they were all in black and white and grainy.
Yeah,
Cracked me up.
That freaked me out, man. It's Twilight Zone stuff.
You know, something I'll say about the movie that was like kind of, I guess what I liked about it was also what was like weird was that every time I thought it was a predictable movie, it just did something very not predictable.
yeah.
know, I agree with that.
It was kind of all over the place. It was fun though. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, what are we doing now? Like, all right.
all the plans the girls were drawing, and when you actually get to actually see like what the plans look like, they lay it out, or like they're crumpling it up in their hands. Like these are funny freaking things that someone had to create.
Yeah, the blueprints are like Wile E. Coyote's blueprints.
Right.
Like,
that whole, I mean, the whole movie felt like a cartoon. And I think they did really well with bringing those type of themes across in live action. I think they did a really good job with that. You know what? Another thing I wanted to touch on was Ben Affleck's whole Batman thing.
yeah, where he like, that's what I was saying before, where everybody had Easter eggs for their own movies. He wasn't just Batman's. He like mentioned like every bad movie that he'd been in.
And then same with what's his face, the other half of Ben Affleck,
You know what's wild is that, okay, so Vince and I did some music for the YouTube.
Matt Damon.
You did the YouTube, music for the YouTube audio library, and we were coming up with titles for various tracks, and they don't have any lyrics, so we were just like listening to them and saying like, what does this feel like, you know? And there's one track, like, well, we don't want to call it Justice League, you know, but like, let's think of a pun. So I was like, oh, the Just Us League.
Yeah.
You know? And then I thought that was a pretty funny pun. I didn't think we were the first people to come up with it, but I thought maybe we were the, like, you know, other people aren't thinking this necessarily for like titling things. And then like Ben Affleck's just like, and then it'll be a Just Us League. I was like, he thought the same thing.
Yep.
What?
Bada boom.
And I think all of that came out around the same time. They were on tour with the movie, like when we were finishing up that project.
Was that whole like Matt Damon thing necessary? I guess it kind of was necessary.
It was
Like-
weird. It
well,
almost
'cause-
felt like it was supposed to go somewhere, but it didn't.
That's
like
what
he
I'm
was
saying.
supposed to be the narrator or something. I don't know.
It started out, and then in the middle, and there was like weird sections where he would just go off, and then other sections that felt like it was leading you to something new in the movie. But him explaining all of Dogma was interesting.
I kind of took it as like that. If this is going to be the last, it's not going to be the last movie. But if this was going to be the last movie, then that's how they're going to like
Tie it all
have
together.
all the closure for Dogma.
Yeah.
But I watched it again later. He did a little bit of moving the story forward in that moment, but as a whole, it could have been cut out and not moved the story. But at the same time,
it was funny.
none of the story needed to
Be
go where it
there,
did.
really? Yeah.
It was just
Yeah.
like getting all these people into the same movie, you know.
Yeah.
But it wasn't done badly. It was. I thought it was like a lot of fun if you were a fan.
His pun of what was it? The Born Identity.
Oh yeah.
he's like-
That was funny and stupid.
And he's just like
also hitting on the dad jokes.
and
of
he's
the
literally
century.
winking at the camera.
Yeah. and then all of Chris Helmsworth too, like that whole thing. If like Josh, you obviously watched all the like credits and saw all the stuff.
To be honest, I think
the
the credits parts were the funniest parts.
I was just surprised why those were cut out.
Yeah,
because I feel like they could have been in there and have had this like had been part like just fit in the movie, with the exception of there was one thing that you could tell was like an alternate ending or something.
Yeah,
but everything else could have been where they felt like they were going to be in the gags, and that would have been funny, you know. But I guess I'm glad that they were there.
Yeah.
To be honest, like they had like a ton of great laughs. I was laughing probably more at the credits. Like the other stuff is like that's funny, but I didn't like actually laugh out loud as many times as I have in the past for his other movies. So like when those credits and stuff came out, I was like, why aren't these credits like cuts in the movie? Like it's a huge laugh. That'd be great. But I don't know, whatever. It's his movie.
It was so emotional to see that IMDb interview with Stan Lee.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
At the end, because you know what's wild is that original YouTube video only has like 250,000 views or something. I know that sounds like a lot, but as for something with Stan Lee and Kevin Smith, like that should have been a big video. But it, you know, relatively there's a small view count on YouTube. But now it's at the end of this movie, you know, and it's kind of sad to think that he was supposed to be kind of like the spine of the storyline. Stan was, and then didn't survive to make it to this movie.
Right.
But he did get to have his like memoriam.
True.
Well, every day at Comic-Con, Kevin Smith, at least I think that year, and I think maybe perhaps years in the past, he is like the IMDb people. Like he has like I don't know if they have a boat, I think, where he just, he interviews a ton of people like all day long. So like that's his deal when he's there. So
Gotcha.
Man.
Yeah.
Also loved, there was this whole deal in the movie where Millie, Millennium Falcon, finds these girls, and this group of girls is one of like the funniest group of girls I feel like I've ever seen on film as far as what the last decade or so. But having the whole like Chinese or what Asian girl as it turns into a Russian girl at the end, like none of that matter. Like it didn't matter that it happened. And I thought it was just funny and off the wall, and it was one of those same things you were touching on. Like when you think you know where the movie's going, then it's just like, what is going on?
And they make fun of things that they're actively doing. So it's just kind of like, don't take this shit seriously, you know? Because like, they're like, don't you hate it when reboots have youth and diversity? And, and then they're just doing it, At the same time, though, those girls were really like nice, diverse cast without like totally pushing it. I mean, maybe having a girl in a hijab was like, much for some people, but
at the knife too, though,
it felt like that those group of girls would actually hang out like that. It feels like those group of girls would actually hang out, Like, that looks like a group of friends I see hang out like out in LA, out at the shopping centers and stuff. I love
the girl who is deaf doesn't get affected by the sound wave thing.
I think she's actually deaf in real life.
That would make sense.
Because I saw some other movies she was in. She also played, either she's that or she got pigeonholed as playing deaf girls.
Man.
But she's a deaf character in a couple other movies too.
Oh man.
But that was actually a really surprising twist. I mean, like, I know some people probably saw something coming of it, but it was like at first, so that's why I thought like stuff like where they made fun of the diversity things, like, oh yeah, you got a deaf girl, a Japanese girl, blah. But then the deaf girl has actually ended up being like a small part of like the finale, like that made sense.
They wrote in working to their advantages or their strengths,
but also like seemed like a friend that kind of friend that Millie would make.
Yeah,
like kind of another misfit.
Yeah, it seemed like they did have a lot worse problems than she did, but because they were, they call her like a little she can't handle it, or she never didn't have her daddy or whatever, and all the other girls are like, my brother tried to kill me.
Yeah,
and this was like, even further places that I probably won't say here. I just thought it was that was fun to me, and seeing them work like the freaking mystery crew and Scooby Doo, all that, like trying to figure out how to get to this Chronic Con, which was hilarious. I don't know. The whole movie is just ridiculous.
Yeah. What's your favorite part?
My favorite part, I was just about to get to that, was when Jay and Silent Bob they finally get to like the outskirts of the conference or whatever. I don't. But there were stores. There was a Hot Topic or whatever, and every single person around them is all dressed just like them.
Oh no, that was the trade floor.
The trade floor, and then they walk into one of the shops or whatever, and the guy, who was it? It was I got his name here. Adam Brody.
Oh, yeah.
He had like a wig, and he's like one of the salesmen there at Hot Topic or whatever.
I did not recognize him until the credits rolled.
Yeah, he had like a tiny little like stash on with like a Beatles like bowl cut on.
No, I remember the casting call for that is like anybody going to LA Comic-Con. If you want to be in a scene of the Jay and Silent Bob reboot, come in your best Jay and Silent Bob cosplay.
That's
they
so
purposely
cool.
did it for that scene because it's supposed to be a convention where everybody's. It's like if you had a Batman and Robin con.
It's like a cosplay,
And you go as one of those two characters. You know,
that's insane. And then just like the way they played on that too was really funny in that whole third act.
I lost track of the acts because it was just so crazy.
What about for you guys? What was your favorite parts?
Mine was probably the Chong and
God,
and
Tommy Chong.
Melissa Benoit. Yeah, like it just
yeah, and Val.
it's hilarious. Just going back and forth. Like
I'm trying
I
to
don't know.
think.
His part. I think he made me laugh the most in the movie.
That was hilarious. I mean, there's a lot of funny things here, but
Yeah, I can't think of like what was like my favorite like specific scene there. I know there was one. I just can't remember right now. But I know, one of the things I thought like the new thing for me in it, because everything was literally rehashed like on purpose.
yeah.
The new thing for me that I thought was kind of interesting, because I'm not a father that I know of, but like the whole thing is like Kevin and Jay are both dads in real life now.
Yeah.
And I can tell that it affected like their like what's important to them in their writing, because the moral of this story was like raising the next generation,
Right.
but what I laughed about, I think I know what my favorite scene is now, because this is the epitome of like what I liked about the movie, was that the whole movie reminded me of all those like badass, like people who were like trying to be a badass in high school and stuff, and then what happened when they became parents. So my favorite like scene was Jay reacting to hearing his daughter's plan about how they were going to get into that van.
Yeah.
And so like he's like, so first she takes nude selfies and puts them online, and then baits a prayer. He's like, what the fuck? But all that stuff, Jay would have done.
Yeah.
If it wasn't not necessarily like get a girl, but like he would have told some girl to take nude selfies. And
I mean, the first scene is them getting busted and him coming out tucked with his fit dick tucked between his legs.
Wasn't ready for that at all. I think we were eating pizza at the time. I was like spit it out. I'm like, what is going on?
I love that the who was it? I forget who the cop was.
David Desmalchin? Are you talking about the white cop?
No,
Yeah.
or it was Donald Rawlings or something.
okay.
From 40-Year-Old Virgin and all those movies.
And then the white dude
Desmalchin, he's in
from
Ant-Man, and he's in a bunch of stuff.
That was so funny, man. And one of them's like, where is it? He's like, man, it's tucked between his legs. They're like fighting over where his penis is. It's so funny.
What's interesting is the whole film, like I'm not like a film expert or anything, but it really felt like everything was shot to cameos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
you didn't see like in that scene, I'll bet if I go back and watch it, you don't see those cops on the same plane as Jay and Silent Bob.
Oh,
It's almost like those actors were available for this set amount of time, so they shot all their
Just
lines
right there.
and then another time they shot all the other side. And the same thing with like when there's a back and forth between people.
Yeah.
Like it is, obviously like Matt Damon's thing is like separate time. Chris Hemsworth like being a hologram is a separate time, But everything I could see like the puzzle pieces, but I think that was part of the fun of it.
I think so too, man. And that's why eyeline is so important.
Impressive eye lines in this one.
There's another the chick that worked at the Moo Burger place, whatever it was. Moobies. It was Kate Micucci, I think is her name. She's a young comedian, outstanding comedian, female comedian for this like new generation of comedians. If anybody's interested. Man, who else was in this movie? I mean, everyone. Method Man and
Meth Man, Red Man.
that was hilarious.
That scene cracked me up.
That was great.
Once again, in the credits, that whole back and forth to be like, it's like, I told you, that was our masterpiece.
Yeah.
Like, why wasn't that in the movie? That's such a funny conversation. of them arguing about how high in their legacy.
Oh, so great. And then Molly Shannon as the airport girl.
Oh yeah, that was like dad joke to the nth. Like that was like drunk aunt jokes. You know,
Absolutely.
she's like, why didn't you like what was it? What was the Uber called? Like
Ride me or something. Share my ride or
no, was it Ride on Me or something like that?
yeah,
Something like that, yeah.
And then she said, "Oh, everything was like looks like you have a weight problem." And then they like make an Easter egg to like when Kevin Smith wasn't allowed to get on a plane because he was too fat.
too fat. Yeah,
And he's like, "No, it's weight, a problem." I'm like, "Okay, that was a stretch, guys."
that was funny. And I just all the nods to him losing weight and being vegan, and Jason Mewes just totally like bastardizing veganism and everything. It's just really stupid and funny to watch.
Oh, Ride Me Now.
Ride me now. Sorry.
It's like, why don't you ride me now? Wait, what?
What?
That was a good one though, because like it's kind of like how people use Lyft and Uber as verbs.
Yeah, why don't you
Lyft, why don't you Uber?
Why don't you
Hey, ride
Lyft?
me now? What?
Why don't you ride me now? Okay. The Fred Armisen thing, I thought
God.
he's so good at making me feel so awkward.
Yeah, he's just got that feeling. I don't know.
That's his deal.
It's like Tiger Beat's still a thing, right? Nope.
Nope. What is hater tots?
Yeah, it turns out hater tots means different things to different people. Turns out my target demographic ended up being white nationalists. And then they just show, I'm so proud of Kevin Smith, just straight up show the Klan.
Yeah.
Just be like, we're not going to try to sugarcoat
Which was
this.
also the most random thing. Why did all those girls get captured by the Klan?
I don't know.
There's no reason. They don't tell you. They steal the van. They leave the old guys like they do in their schematic of leave the old guys, and then they
Old gay guys.
gay guys, and then or gay old guys, and then they're like, "Where's the van?" He's like, "It's right there." And then they see the billboard or whatever. They walk around and that's there's the van, and then they see the Klan. There's no explanation of why they got captured,
I'm going to
tied
rewatch
up,
it now.
and cuffed.
I might be wrong, but at the time I had just assumed that whoever owned the van was also a Klan member, but I don't know that.
Well, that was the pedophile that was also that was also a Jesus like holy lover man.
So that's why I thought it's like, well, he also is a pedophile and like he's religious. Like, it just like I was like, I thought they were just kind of making a joke there with that, but I totally could be wrong. I don't remember specifically.
Yeah.
Because at the time I was like, oh, the guy must have gotten his van back or something.
Oh my god.
But yeah, that was a random scene. I will say I was a little bit disappointed in Silent Bob's monologue because I thought he was going to be a profound life lesson to a bunch of Klansmen, but he was literally just distracting them. And to be fair, that's what his job was.
Right.
But he opened his mouth to kind of say not a lot. He was basically telling them they were racist.
And usually when that moment happens, it is something like profound and
Yeah. Actually, from the Clerks movie, the original one, the thing that he says at the end of the movie is what my best man said at our wedding, like toast. So it's kind of funny. Like, was it, you can't find, I can't remember how he says it, but it's basically like, most girls won't bring you lasagna at work.
that's right.
I can't remember how it goes, but it was great.
There's also Deirdre
Bunoff.
Diedrich,
as a security guard.
which again was just a classic him. But I thought that was so much fun watching him run around with Jay and Silent Bob.
What's weird is they didn't have Randall in the movie.
Oh,
Like he's the guy that normally was at the video store next door. And I don't know, like I was looking for some stuff to see like why I guess they had a fallen out a while ago, but like apparently not so much. I don't know.
Huh. I
Like,
don't know
apparently
about that.
recently he's been good for Clerks 3 because I guess that they've already announced they're doing a Clerks 3.
Yeah.
But it's just weird not to see him in the movie because he's been in so many other things. Like he was in the video game stuff that they did. It's just that's
what was the name of the
cartoons
chicken
and-
place?
Gosh, I'm not even gonna-
Cocksmokers.
There you go.
Cocksmokers.
I was like,
Smoked chicken.
when that popped up as like literally the opening shot, I was
was
like,
great.
why hasn't somebody opened that for real?
Over the video store.
Yeah.
It's a chicken sandwich place.
Oh god, so great, so dumb.
Oh, I love that. Is the judge's name? Was this Craig?
Craig Robinson.
There you go, Robin. I keep saying Ferguson. It's like, I don't know, that's not it. It's Robinson. He's hilarious. I usually love him, and he was freaking hilarious here too.
Well, even that little thing, like flingy thing they do with the lawyer, and then who was it, Justin Long? His whole thing was hilarious too. Like he goes and defends Jay and Silent Bob, and then next case he goes and he's the other side of the case. Oh, that was so funny. So really, people, go watch this movie because it just made me giggle the whole time, and I may not have been laughing out loud, but I was freaking laughing inside for sure.
Yeah, I feel like this wasn't as raunchy as
You need more ranch?
Exactly. Ugh, I hate ranch, but I feel like it wasn't anywhere near as raunchy as like their usual like Jason Mewes like raunchy stuff. I don't know, maybe it's because of his daughter being there. I don't know. She was trying to be the raunchy aspect of it, but like I don't know. I just feel like another movie is like they just tried to push that boundary as far as they could, you know?
Right.
Oh, they started that way.
Absolutely.
With the whole tucking thing, I was like, oh God, here we go. Yeah, but then it just ramped down from there.
Yeah.
And they alluded to things.
Yeah.
Like sex stuff and everything, but like they never like showed things like they had in the past.
All of Jay's fantasies and stuff. They
I guess
did a few of his fantasies.
I guess that's true. He did like kind of like as soon as the kids got involved, that's when everything kind of like got like cleaner.
Yeah, and then them making fun of, or no, it wasn't the kids. It was Justice and the new wife was making fun of his little dick and shit. It's just hilarious, and that he licks it up like his finger up his butt.
Was it come quick thumb dick or something?
Yeah. And seeing all that, it's just like the stupidest stuff that it's like cringeworthy. But you're right, Josh. It wasn't as like as far as that we've seen them go before.
Especially like Strike Back is pretty.
That's out there, man.
It's pretty far out there.
Yeah.
But
oh yeah, I totally forgot about the Iron Man scene.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
I wonder if they're gonna get
sued.
bopped for that.
Oh, he even said he's like, ooh, Marvel's gonna sue somebody.
Right? Oh yeah, they even said it in the movie.
Doesn't that happens in Dogma too? Doesn't it?
Oh really?
Doesn't Chris Rock say something like that?
Oh.
At some point in time, like he's like, because they're shooting a movie in that too, and at some point in time, he's like, "Oh, someone's gonna get sued or something." And I can't remember what they did.
Because that's how he said it too. Oh, somebody's gonna get sued.
Yeah,
I can hear it in my head. I just don't remember the scene. It's been such a long time, man. That's one of those movies where I might have to go revisit. I definitely need to watch Clerks and Clerks 2 again because it's just, I mean, it's been 20 years, man.
Clerks 2 was pretty raunchy.
yeah.
I'm honestly not like a huge fan of these movies either. But some of these things you just kind of have to watch.
I mean, I like Kevin Smith as a person. Like I don't know, and so like that's why I'll always probably try to watch his movies because he just seems like he's a genuine dude. I don't know.
Oh, it's a piece of pop culture for me. Like the way I look at it is, even though I'm not like a huge fan, I still want to know and be in the know.
What's your favorite Kevin Smith movie?
Mine was in college was Chasing Amy.
Okay.
But I think like as an overall entertainment thing, I really enjoyed Dogma as like a kind of mainline movie, you know?
Yeah.
Dogma was good, and also I was like in puberty, and Selma Hayek is just amazing.
Yeah.
Like a woman, she's just a real woman, regardless of what movie she's playing in. I'm trying to think though. Favorite Kevin Smith movie?
Did you watch Jersey Girl?
I didn't.
I don't think I did either. If I did, I forgot it.
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen Yoga Hosers. I haven't seen Tusk. I haven't seen Zack and Miri Make a Porno.
I saw that. That
Zack and Miri Make a Porno.
hilarious.
That was a good one. I forgot about that one. That might be up in my favorites, if not my favorite.
Yeah, I was just now looking
Because it's super raunchy, but still is really like sweet, you know?
Yeah.
Because you know, like spoilers, the whole thing is like Zack and Miri they're just platonic friends,
Right.
but they're broke and they're roommates. So like, but if we do a porn, then we can pay rent. But then in the act of having sex, they realize they have feelings for each other.
They're like making love instead of fucking each other.
Yeah. But yeah, I forgot about that movie. I know it tanked, but I think part of it was that the way they had to market it.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I went out specifically to a certain store to buy the DVD that didn't censor the title.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if you went out to like Target or something, it was just called Zack and Miri.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense. Like,
Which is weird because I remember seeing it on like buses and even like saying the full thing, Zack and Miri Make a Porno, and I was like, huh. Like, I think it was like 2008, right? When did that come out? Yeah, 2008. So like right when I moved to LA, like that was coming out. So it's just kind of.
I'll bet that was part of it.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall was another one that I saw at the time.
Oh, that's so
everywhere.
That's a good one too, man.
I think that's part of it too. That you were in LA, because like when I was in Delaware at the time, I think, and it was censored in most places. Like it would just say Zack and Miri. So I just
Was Daredevil Kevin Smith? No,
He was in it for like a split second.
that was Mark Johnson though.
Yeah. Did you ever see Cop Out?
no.
Oh yeah, with Bruce
I
Willis.
love how
Yeah.
they roasted that movie in there too.
Which is funny
Oh,
because
yeah.
like it's not a horrible movie. Like it's got Tracy Morgan in it, and he's pretty funny in it. And Bruce Willis is kind of like Bruce Willis in the movie, and
Yeah.
like it's got a couple funny beats. It just didn't do very well. But then on top of it, like I heard, Kevin Smith's whole, like he has like a interview or whatever he had that he did, just went into like all the crap that happened around Bruce Willis. Like
it's in
I was
his
like,
book.
oh wow.
Yeah, it's in his book. There's like maybe 2 chapters about it. About how much like it's not that he does hate Bruce Willis, but it's not because it's not just spiteful. It's more of like how disappointed he was in how Bruce Willis turned out to be in his perspective.
Yeah.
Because basically, the TLDR of it was like he's like when we were together in a movie, and was it Die Hard that they were in together?
He was a kind of like script help, I think, for Die Hard.
What's it? Oh, okay. Oh yeah. Well, wasn't he also like acting in it or something?
I think he had a very small like cameo in it.
So,
yeah.
so he was like, so they were both under a director, and they were best friends because Kevin had suggested some script changes that made sense. So him and Bruce got buddy, and so that's what led to them working together on I don't know if it led to them, but it certainly didn't hurt them working together on Cop Out. And then Kevin said in the book, he was like, in his book, the moment I became the boss, he turned. Then all of a sudden, I was the guy that he wanted to suggest rewrites to, and I was the guy that was fucking everybody over and stuff. And it's like, so Bruce just has a problem with whoever is in charge, and then he'll just give you hell from that on. So he said that it just was a pain to film. He just didn't have a good time. So I know that's why they roasted a lot in Kevin's movies.
That makes sense. I mean, out of all the movies, I would say the ones we named are probably the best ones. Like I know Mallrats is like historical too, and
Yeah, I'd probably say Mallrats is my favorite. I think because it has a Stan Lee cameo and it has all the nerd stuff in it, and I feel like it's the last kind of before he kind of goes really more independent. Like that was kind of like the last like big movie he had. I don't know. It was hilarious, and I think I came out in '95, so I was like 7th grade or something,
Oh, was it really that long ago?
Yeah.
That's wild.
It was weird because I guess it's right after. Yeah, it's the second movie. It's right after Clerks.
Clerks.
yeah. And then Cop Out was 2010,
Yeah.
so it's a long distance there.
So I knew this part was an Easter egg, but I had no idea how deep it went. But in Millie's room, there's a poster for buses or bussers. It was about like busboys or something, and it was done in the style of Clerks, like the theme or
nice.
whatever.
Yeah.
So I thought,
That's
that's just a funny parallel. Apparently, I guess like Kevin Smith was previously like Clerks would have been about his waiting job, and then something changed, and he changed it later, and it was Clerks instead.
Interesting.
So I guess that was the Easter egg to like what could have been the first movie. Is this movie about bussers?
That's crazy. Yeah. I was trying to see if there was any other good ones.
Oy. I mean, like I love all the stuff he does. Like I said, I haven't seen Jersey Girl or Zack and Miri or Yoga Hosers.
I haven't seen Yoga Hosers or Tusk yet.
Yeah, I haven't seen either of those. Looks like 2013 there was this cartoon movie.
The
He
Clerks
did a
movie?
bunch of. I think he did like a cartoon that was longer. It wasn't a movie. I think it was like an actual series. But
That's cool.
and Comic Book Men was always fun. But you could always tell that they shot like all of the because at the end of the show they'd have everybody in a room. And you could tell, like, by what they were wearing, like, that they shot every ending scene at the same time for the whole season. So it was like, yeah, he just went through all the stuff.
That's pretty funny.
It's just funny. He's not really around in the rest of the time. But I loved Comic Book Man too.
I think I only ever saw a few episodes on a plane. And while I was on a plane and I saw like the Comic Book Men was on there, and it was like incomplete seasons, which is so random. I wonder if it was like some licensing thing. It's like I could watch episode 4, 7, and 12.
That's weird. Yeah. Oh man. So definitely don't spend your money to go to a theater.
Well, you can't.
You can't.
There's no theaters open.
Renting it is super cheap, and buying it is super cheap.
Yeah, if you're gonna rent it, you might as well buy it because the rental was $5.99 and the purchase was $7.99.
Yeah.
It was like, or unless you have, was it Amazon Prime? You said it's streaming for free on.
Yeah, if you have Amazon Prime and you just click on video and it's streaming for free.
I'm sure you Jay and Silent Bob fans out there already added it to the collection.
Yeah, because how did it do on tour? I'm assuming well.
It did well, yeah. I didn't see specific numbers, but I saw that the tour that they did was like the best option they could have done for that movie. Mm-hmm. I don't think it would have done any better.
Well, that was the brilliant part of it. That they went and toured like all these major cities. They were out for months. Yeah. And they were having like 3 different shows at a certain, a night. And, I'm sure that they had merch afterwards. They had meet and greets and all this other stuff. He brought in 20 million.
Well, part of his awesome. Merch too is they have their own weed line. Yeah. And it's not cheap. It's expensive stuff. It's really potent stuff. It's really good stuff for you smokers out there. But the whole deal of taking your like a tour idea for a musician or a comedian and improvising or weaving in this whole like movie experience with the fans, and then meet and greets and selling all your products and selling your merch and everything. It truly is like a newfound way for like entertainment to make money. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not like it's new ideas. It's all old conventional ideas just spun in a different way. I think that's cool.
I think it's definitely brilliant making it a tour. It's just crazy, He made it an event you could come hang out with him afterwards at,
And you start getting momentum. I mean, you don't know if it's going to work or not when it's an idea, right? And when you hit your first show, you kind of can expect what the next shows will be like, and then so on and so forth. But once they got the momentum, man, that's the number you threw out. I mean, that's what type of cash they got going on right now.
Yeah. Actually, plus, I want to look up how much they made.
Yeah. Plus, like, God knows how much in merch and product. Because, like, I like Kevin Smith as just Kevin Smith. I think he's a really cool person. Mm-hmm. And I watched the episode of Joe Rogan and him talking, and he's just an enlightening dude. Like, and that's where I learned about the whole things that he was doing on tour and kind of the ritualistic things that they were doing on tour. And so if anybody's interested in that after listening to this podcast, you can go over and watch Joe Rogan with Kevin Smith.
I guess I don't know how weird these numbers, but apparently it said it's made 5 million domestic box office. Now, I don't know if that means, because they had like an actual like box office launch, and then they went on tour with it. So I don't know if the tour actually estimates how much numbers, because I mean, I feel like these kind of numbers are coming from something that has to register movie numbers. But like going around and touring the movie, I feel like that's all information that you may not have to actually tell people,
Yeah, you don't know if it includes the tour numbers or not.
Yeah, I would almost assume that it doesn't, because I remember we were on here one day, like adding up how much money and how much tickets were worth, and I was like, that's millions upon millions. Like if he finishes that tour, because like I said, it was like 3 nights or 3 showings a night, and they were booked for like 2 months straight. So it was crazy.
Wow, that's so cool. It's really cool to see people come out of the and just like support for Jay and Silent Bob is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I just remembered another funny storyline that went through. Was the whole thing about like how much of an asshole Saban was.
Oh,
which if you're not in LA. Saban, he's the guy that created. He's the guy responsible for like the X-Men animated series, Power Rangers, Inspector Gadget, like a bunch of stuff from your childhood. Mm-hmm. But in this town, he notoriously has like a very bad reputation to work with, like airtight NDAs, and like he'll pull projects and just not or take credit for stuff. And so it was just funny to see that as like a line in the movie, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
But then I looked it up. Saban distributes this movie. And
he's not going to lose out on money.
well, so like if you listen next week, hopefully next week if we're on schedule, you'll hear us interviewing Ron Wasserman, who wrote the Power Rangers theme song. Mm-hmm. And I mentioned something in there was like, how did that work? I guess if he just makes enough money, he's happy with it. He's like, yep.
Bingo.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking up some information before that interview, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, how much money?" Because him and was the Suki Levy. Oh my gosh, how many songs they have under their belts, and if they
like
and their
the
whole
TV
thing
themes.
was their whole thing is like all the cues, all the songs, like were theirs. Like they didn't like all the writers were basically work for hire. So how much
Yeah.
money they were making just off the songs and the cues is insane.
Yeah, because what did Ron say? A season of Power Rangers was 52 episodes.
Yeah.
And so, like, just to have the main theme, you know.
I think it was $500 for the main theme every time it plays.
God.
Imagine how many
station or
times
something, or-
Power Rangers plays. And that's just Power Rangers. The dude had 1,700 songs
Yeah.
from various television shows.
And I wonder if that's, like, overall or just per station or, you know.
I think it was overall. But what I was reading was most stuff between up from like the 60s to the 90s, they would give a third of the writing credit to the writer, and then they'd take 2/3 and somehow distribute it among the company somehow other way. And I was like, well, all right, well, I guess you deal with that. And then in 90s, they were trying to fight for really good writers, and they're like, you know what? Let's say, hey, you come write for us, and try to get some good writers, and say you can keep all of your writing credit. And so basically, everyone started fighting for writers, and now all the writers get all their money normally at most places.
Interesting, yeah.
Except
I
for
wonder if-
Saban.
I wonder, was that before the publishing splits and stuff?
That was the publishing splits and stuff.
Oh, okay. Because,
like,
yes, how
Prior,
it
they'd
works,
make you do what he was doing, but only they would say they would give you a third of it.
a third of the writing part.
Yeah, and that's like I guess
Okay.
Hanna-Barbera was like that, and
So
Yeah.
for people who don't know music, how it works right now is there's two sets of rights or splits of royalties for every song written. There's the writers and then there's the publishing. Very often, especially with independent writers, you'll get both writing and publishing because you're just that, you know. But if you get hired by like Sony to do something for the Spider-Man movie, you'll most likely like keep all your writing half, and then the publishing half you'll probably relinquish part of or all of it to whoever signed you for the project, depending on what you agree on. But that's what it's there for. It's for those splits. So, like, what makes the whole thing with Ron and people Saban works with so unusual is he takes the writing split as well, and the written credit, which it wasn't unusual, but like also not necessarily what the writing publishing split was meant to be doing. You know, like it would have made sense if Saban took all of the publishing, but not the writing, and Ron would get the credit for writing. But at the same time, then Ron would be owed like that half of the royalties. So
Yeah.
like Josh said, like part of, Saban's like media mogulness was to like be able to tap in anytime there was a flow of money. And that was one of them. But also, like, to be fair, Ron doesn't begrudge it. He got paid a salary. So he had a steady income, which is probably, all of us have friends that are house writers for different songwriting houses and stuff. And they can get really stressed because they're like, if you don't have a X number of hits or cuts in a year, you get fired. And it's like, if you're working with Saban, you won't get credit necessarily, but you know that you have the same paycheck, for writing songs every week. So what was it? Eric and Julia Leewald said, Ron might write 2 songs or 22 songs, and you get paid the same.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I guess it's take it or, leave it. Like he said, he knew exactly from the beginning what he was signing.
Yeah. And he was
Yeah,
young, I guess, when he did it. So, like, it was kind of a really good learning area for him. He didn't go to college or anything, so.
Yeah. So like it was just so anyways, we're getting back to like the Jay and Silent Bob reboot and then making like Saban kind of the butt of a lot of jokes, especially in the middle and third act or whatever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it followed the meta-ness of everything. But still, Saban is the distribution company. You know, like it's like okay.
I kind of feel the same way
so-
about like the Simpsons would poke fun at Fox all the time.
Yeah.
Like they're like, oh, Fox. Just funny.
And even like the Disney thing before they were owned by Disney. Mm-hmm. What like with that scene with like Bart makes the Mickey Mouse ears is like I'm a evil overlord mouse for the evil corporation. Like
Perfect.
Like
As
congratulations to our new evil corporate overlords or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
when they did the announcement.
Yeah.
Oh, so funny. And then I guess it's been long enough. Oh, you know what? They didn't put this on the Onward release, but when Onward was in theaters, the short that happened before was The Simpsons.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it was kind of like the first like Simpsons you saw under the Disney umbrella. And I have to say, it encouraged me because it was a story about Maggie. So it was a perfect fit for Disney, you know? And it was super cute, but still kept the soul of The Simpsons.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, this is a peek into what the Simpsons might, you know, under this Disney supervision, might actually like get back to like a heyday again, you know,
Yeah.
if it lasts that long. But the series is literally outliving its cast.
Yeah. Agreed.
Like the cast are like just dying or getting fired or quitting or something, and it's like the series keeps going, you know.
And they stay the same age.
Like Yeardley Smith has been Lisa for like 30 years now.
Right?
Yep. She used to be an actress, and now she's just like, man, I'm Yardley. or I'm Lisa. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
And she's starting to look like her too in the last like decade, you know.
She's got the hair.
Yeah, like she looks like she's growing up to be Lisa. Or she's like Lisa kind of growing up, you know.
Yeah.
You know, but that Disney short was it was like Maggie like going to like a park with her mom and then like getting a crush on a little boy, and then it was Maggie like acting as an adult but in a baby ways, you know. So the next morning she would like put little milk behind her ears instead of perfume. And then you know, then when she wouldn't see the guy, she would get depressed, and so instead she had a speaking spell, and she's like, why, and she's like all frazzled in bed, you know. So it was really funny. So she get dressed up to go see this boy and stuff. It was super cute, and there was no words spoken. It was just kind of like yeah, you know,
Yeah.
the whole time. But anyway, back to Jay and Silent Bob. There's a ton of cameos, man.
Oh
That
gosh.
was just too many.
Well, that's kind of what the last. I don't know if Clerks 2 was that way, but with with Strike Back, it was like as much cameos as possible. You know, like, you know, they shoved everybody in there that was in the prior movies. So
Yeah, and I guess like and it was just funny. We basically saw the first movie again, but just like they said, like with a younger, more diverse cast.
Pretty much.
yeah,
Same plot, different peeps.
I don't know. I think that's about it.
I think that's it. I know that's all I got.
It's definitely worth checking out for any of those price points. For the rental at $6, for the purchase at $8, for free on Amazon. If you're a Kevin Smith fan, if you're not, or if you only seen one or two movies, I don't know how much sense this will make to you.
Yeah, I would not recommend watching it if you haven't seen the other movies. It won't make a lick of sense.
But I feel like if you're a fan of Kevin Smith's life and his movies, the more you know of either of those things, the more fun this movie is.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And there's a good ending right there. That's a good message for a good ending. So thanks for sticking around if you got this far. And we'll be back next week.
Yeah, with hopefully the interview with Ron. I mean,
Yeah.
we've done it, so it's there. Hopefully it's on schedule. But also check out me and Vin's RKVC channel, because we'll also have a bunch of Power Rangers videos coming out the same week with the podcast. So a lot of Power Rangers content coming out with Ron Wasserman. So super excited about that.
Cool,
But stay
cool.
safe. Wash your hands. Stay indoors.
Don't fight with your mom.
Yeah, it's bad.
Or if you do, videotape it. Put it on YouTube.
TikTok. Peace out.